Hello, and welcome to the weekly reading. It is quite a busy week in the sense of a few different things. We have a personal planet moving sign, so Venus is moving from Libra into Scorpio this week. We have the last quarter moon in Virgo, and last quarter means we've got one more week before the new moon, and so it's kind of an opportunity for us to wrap up some of the things that have been going on for us during the month, and come to a place of clarity and understanding as far as we are able, kind of to get the last juice out of the cycle that we've been in, which you may remember began with a Scorpio new moon, and now Venus moving into Scorpio will also kind of help us to go, okay, so let's really look at the Scorpio archetype and what is it that we needed to learn from that. And then Uranus is going to go direct this week as well. So he's been retrograde for some months already, and he will station direct. Personally, I know that he stationed direct just off my natal Mars, which means that he's going to be heading back there. So I can feel a little bit of trepidation in my own life as to what that will bring, being that I'm very aware of how Uranus has been affecting me personally in the last few years. So yes, just having a think about all of those. And actually, we've got a card that really resonates with that whole Uranus situation. So I've brought in a mixture of things because Virgo last quarter is all about healing and details. I've brought in a specific array. I won't get into why they're all specifically here. This is a little manifestation charm I did for myself last year around this time, and this is an essential oil blend that I've made for myself with my various doTERRA oils. It's got some crystals inside there, and so I've made something very personal to me and what I need for my anxiety, and I've brought that into the reading as well to kind of personalize that for you. And I'm also going to share my little letter I got from my daughter yesterday. Hi Mom, just know if you be yourself, everyone will love you just as much as I love you. And she stuck it there, and she told me to leave it on my desk to look at whenever I'm not feeling okay. So that was very, very special. Now choose a card between 1 and 4 and let's dive into the weekly reading. Here is the overall. This is the Uranus stationing direct card that I'm really thinking of. Although Uranus has this paradigm shifting kind of energy, and a lot of the things showing up in this weekly reading have a paradigm shifting energy. The Hierophant is a very spiritual card. He's kind of like a bridge between, and you can even see like the link between him and going up the stairs to spirit, to source, to God. And so he is that like, come this way, I'll help you to get there kind of energy. From maybe we can say the material to the ethereal. He has a great joy, especially in this deck. I love this deck's version of the Hierophant. He has a great joy and optimism with this, where I think so often we can get a little bit serious in our pursuit of connecting to the divine, whatever form that takes for any one of us. And we all have a slightly different narrative around that, and that's also perfectly okay. It's about getting in touch with your relationship to your God, or the God of your understanding. And the Hierophant is really here to help us to shift some of those paradigms where there is resistance for us. So again, there's the shift of paradigm. Also, because it's followed by the Four of Cups, and this is a card, it's a water card. It can be very apathetic, a bit like blah, how you doing, blah, just like not getting there. And you can see how she's got 3 cups on one side that she's kind of looking in the direction of, and they're all empty, and she's just got nothing left to give, no enthusiasm. But the universe is presenting her with a full cup of all sorts of exciting rainbow potentials. But she just needs to turn her head in order to see that. She doesn't have that perspective as yet. But funnily enough, with regards to where the reading is going in this particular week, I normally Four of Cups is really not my favorite card. But for me at the moment, it's actually, especially where we're leading into in the year, it's actually talking to us about going into a bit of a rest phase, a bit of a don't overthink, just be with whatever. So if we start feeling like, how can I connect to my pure joy, to my source light, to that ignited passion within me? And this is a very Sagittarian card, and the sun is in Sag at the moment. And then based on that, how can I let myself be bored? So rather than being too busy and buzzy and trying to get everything done and be super productive and getting stuck in the paradigm that I know, where are my anxiety patterns, my avoidance tactics by keeping so busy? This is almost like saying to us, this Four of Cups, it's just like, stop. If the feelings come up, let them come up. If you're feeling bored, let yourself be bored. If you're feeling low energy, let yourself be low energy. All of those things, even if it comes to getting to being apathetic, because the Four of Cups is an emotional card. Water, cups is water, is emotion. And it's followed by an upside down Queen of Swords. Now, Queen of Swords, in this particular deck, you can see that swords tends to be, it's air, and it tends to be more intellectual and mentally focused, less emotional. But right here, there is a cup, and it's full. And in that full cup, we see that she is not unemotional. She is just able to put her emotions aside when it is required to be practical, logical, linear thinking, etc. So when we see her following the Four of Cups, but she's in reverse, I feel like there is a bit of a nod to, we need to divorce a little bit that emotional self from the mental self right now. And it feels to me kind of like a process. In order to relax, to get in touch with our higher selves, to get in touch with our higher source, spirit, belief system, whatever that is, we may need to take some time to feel the feelings all the way until we're empty and we're bored, and we have to sit still in order to do these things. And then we need to kind of be empty, not yet see our new potential coming through. And from that empty space, emotionally empty space, we need to think things through. Without our emotions, we need to be a little bit more sort of clear-headed. And this would be especially true for those people who are very strongly watery people, those of us who feel very deeply emotionally, and we tend to let our emotions cloud our thinking. Those of us who are more that way inclined will definitely resonate with this part of the reading. And so it's just to get a little bit out of our hearts and into our heads, even though our heads are feeling a little turned around because our hearts have been going through the most. And then we have a Tower moment. And I feel like that, I mean, that is the ultimate sort of in paradigm shifts. It often comes in the form of a shock, which is why there's usually a lightning strike. The traditional Rider-Waite tarot is three people, I think it's three or is it two, jumping out of a burning tower that's been struck by lightning. And this is exactly the kind of energy that it brings. It strikes something down, but then from that, it's kind of phoenix-like. From that, something rises from the ashes. So phoenix moments or tower moments rarely feel comfortable, but when the dust settles and we have that kind of Queen of Swords perspective, where we get out of the emotions of it, we can see that that shift was actually for our higher good and exactly what was required in the moment. Now, I always sort of feel like with Uranus and with the Tower card, sometimes you can come in to be that tower in somebody else's life as well. So that is a potential. But also that if we know when to let go, we may not get such a shock about how something is taken from us, because it's that energy of that which is yours will never go past you, but that which is not yours needs to move out. And I don't know, especially for those of us who have strong fixed energy in our charts, like myself, sometimes letting go is just really a hard thing to do. Letting go of ideas, letting go of people, letting go of situations, it's hard to do. And so we don't. Even if we know we should, we don't. And there's no judgment in that, but it does just tend to mean that when it does have to go, when it reaches a point, it could be shocking. It could be sudden. It could be this kind of unexpected wrench, burning something down. And I always kind of get the sense that we have free will as humans, and the sense that there are certain big things in our life that will happen one way or the other. The timeline, if we're thinking of linear time, is very dependent on a lot of our free will, our choices, and other people, because other people are part of our journey. So somebody else may make a choice that we don't necessarily want made, but it's made by somebody else, or we resist making a choice even though we know we need to. But at some point, it's like, you know, when you get the little labels that says best before and then use by on your food, it's a little bit like that. So best to get out of this before, and then if you haven't used by, it'll be done for you. That's kind of how it sort of rolls out karmically more often than not. So depending which card you picked, you obviously have an extra strong message with that one. I hope this has been helpful. It does look like we're in for a bit of a turnaround, and we really just need to get quiet, get still, get clear, and keep coming back to this place of the Hierophant, of trusting that inner knowing, that divine connection that you do have, even when you feel absolutely blah and flat and, I wanted to say pup, but that's a very South African word for flat and low energy and emotionally depleted. And also, because she's upside down, aside from the fact that I mentioned that it's a good idea for us to try and be a little bit less emotional as we try to make our thinking process. Remember, Mercury is also going into retrograde, not this week, but next week. So we're already in the shadow of that. And I also think that there is an element of, with this Queen of Swords, of maybe I can't think right now. Maybe I actually just need to rest my brain. I need to rest my thinking. If you found, especially that you're caught in this whirlwind of overwhelm, emotional overwhelm, mental overwhelm, you can't tell the wood for the trees, the thoughts from the feelings, then something is gonna burst forth here and change that. But it may mean that something doesn't go according to quote unquote plan. But remember, it's happening for you, not to you. And breathe and trust in your higher power, in your divine connection, that everything is working out exactly as it should. Thank you for watching. Remember, all my links will be below. I will be taking a bit of a break because this whole reading makes 100% sense to me in my own life. And definitely, as I've been leaning into in these videos, needing a little bit of an unplugging time. So I still have not got an exact date on that. I may be back for one more reading next week, or I may not. We will see. Can you see the dithery Gemini in me, in Mercury's shadow? Anyway, I'm sending you much, much love and support.